We are all done standing around in our lives. We are all done being the passenger, watching life pass us by. We are all done with mediocrity and monotony and wandering around pretending like we don't know what we want. We are all done living below our potential. We're just not doing it anymore. We are setting intentions. We are stepping into our power, and we are becoming who it is we were always meant to become. Don't look back. The time is now. Are you with me? It's time to shift and hit the gas. Shift your life out of cruise control and into breakthrough mode. I totally love you. Hello and welcome to episode 200 and the first episode of the newly rebranded podcast, Breakthrough Mode. I am so excited that you are here. I am so grateful that you are on this journey with me. And before we get into today's episode, before we get into all of it, I want to chat a little bit about Breakthrough Mode, why I've made this change, and what it means to me. So, I have loved From Impossible to Inevitable. It has been so good, even though it's a little tricky to say sometimes, and I have to be intentional with it. I love that phrase. It has a special, deep meaning to me. It has a special backstory to me and everything, and I have loved it all of these years that I have had to say From Impossible to Inevitable on the podcast. I've loved it. It's been wonderful. And as I was thinking about the podcast and what I want to do with it and where I want to go with it and what I want to pour into it, I wanted a name that had a bit more power, a bit more built-in momentum, a bit more action-oriented of like, we are doing this. We are moving forward. We are going after what it is we want to do and to have and to be. We are on this path of becoming, and we are deciding to shift into breakthrough mode. So in my car, I have all of these different modes, these different settings, right? There's like eco for, using gas economically, and there's comfort so that you don't like have these real harsh accelerations, and there's snow for when there's snow, and everyone's favorite, and by everyone, I'm talking about the girls, their favorite mode is, of course, sport mode, because that one is the one where we accelerate quickly. We are moving and you can hear the engine purr, and it's really quite fun, right? We love sport mode. And breakthrough mode to me is like shifting into sport mode. It's this decision where it's like, okay, I am done with how I've been doing things. I am done with all of these behaviors I've been tolerating in myself. I am done with living below my potential with whatever it is. I'm done. I'm not coasting anymore. I'm not cruising anymore. I am shifting into breakthrough mode. I am breaking through whatever fears, doubts, barriers, limiting beliefs are in my way, and I am doing the dang thing. That's what breakthrough mode means to me. It's this conscious decision. It's this, in my car, we turn a dial. That's what it is. It's a dial. You turn the dial and you're shifting into this place where you can accelerate rather quickly. Now keep in mind, like as I talk about becoming, which becoming is my thing. If this is your first episode, becoming is so my thing. We are becoming all the time. We are in the car, if we're going to keep with the metaphor, we're in the car all the time. We're on the journey all the time. We're continually moving forward day by day by day. No matter what, you are on the journey. You are on the path. You are becoming. But sometimes we're in cruise control. Sometimes we need to be in cruise control. There's nothing wrong with cruise control. I love cruise control. Sometimes we're just coasting. Sometimes whatever the situation calls for sometimes. You got to slow down, you got to hit the brakes. Sometimes there's traffic, sometimes there's accidents, sometimes there's unexpected things in your road, in your journey, on your path, and you got to slow down and deal with it. That's not the problem. There's no problem with cruising. And we forget that it's a choice to step on the gas. Like, that moment after you're stuck in traffic, right? And you're going 3 miles an hour and all of this. And you finally get to this moment where you see, oh, there's been an accident and, it went down to 2 lanes from 4. And, that's why everything's been crawling. And then you get past that accident. You get past that accident and everybody spreads out a little bit because now we have all the lanes and you can really step on it and you can really get going and you can really accelerate. And then sometimes there's that person that's still like dinking around at 25 miles an hour and you're like, what are you doing, dude? Like, step on it. Let's go. We've got space. It's, the speed limit's 70. So let's get going. We've got the choice to step on it. We've got the choice to shift into breakthrough mode, to have our breakthrough, to be who it is we want to be, to go be where we want to be on the journey, and to do the things that we want to do. But it's a choice. It's a choice. You have to turn the dial. You have to do it intentionally. Otherwise, once you set cruise control, right, you just cruise. And if you have, one of the newer-ish cars or whatever, like, you've got the cruise control that will even slow down for you when there's traffic to a point. And you don't really even have to pay attention that much to your speed. I mean, pay attention on the road. But you don't even have to really, because you set cruise control, so maybe sometimes you'll be below it, but you won't go much past it. And we get in these places where we're just cruising. And there's nothing wrong with cruising if that's what you want. That's not really my bag. My bag is all about intentional becoming. And when we're just cruising, we're often not being intentional about our becoming. We're often not being intentional about the journey. We're not being intentional about where we're headed. We're going through the motions. We're taking care of what's screaming loudest. We're taking care of the things, but it's often the stuff that, in the long run is just stuff like doing the laundry every week and cleaning the house and, making food and getting here and there and running errands here and doing that. And we just get in these places sometimes where we're just going through the motions. All the while, we are on a track of becoming. You're becoming no matter what. You are going to be a year older no matter what. And when you are that year older and you look back at the last year or the last 10 years or whatever, we often are like, how in the world did so much time go by? And we we wonder how we're, maybe in the same place physically or mentally or emotionally or with our relationships or with our money or with our career or with whatever. And we're like, how has nothing changed? Or how has it gotten worse? Or how is it not what I wanted it to be? All of those things are options. All of those things happen, but they happen because we weren't driving on the road intentionally. We weren't creating intentional results in our lives because we were too busy sitting in cruise control, passing snacks to the passengers in the back and not really paying attention to where we're going. Okay? So that is the vibe of breakthrough mode. This intentional shifting of the knob, of hitting the accelerator, of making intentional choices so that we can become intentionally. Becoming is 100% my thing. It's absolutely my thing. There's people that have all sorts of, soapboxes that they'll get on, and they've got all of these. Becoming is mine. I am so passionate about becoming, and I am so aware of it. And all of the things that work together in order to become intentionally. So for these next 4 episodes, starting with this one, for the next 4 Friday episodes, I'll clarify that, I am going to be chatting about my 4 pillars of becoming. These are the things that over the course of all of my studying of personal development, over the last year and a half of focusing in on becoming, and I'll talk more about that one in another episode, but I have realized that these 4 things are critical to becoming intentionally, to being on the road intentionally. These 4 things are critical. So I said the next 4 Friday episodes. So that will be this episode 200. It'll be 202, 204, and 206. If you are new to the podcast, if this is your very first one, I am so glad you are here. Just know there are episodes on Monday. And those episodes, I share a quick quote. They're about 5-6 minute episodes. I chat about the quote. It's to get your week going. It's to get you started. It's to give you a boost, to give you some encouragement, to give you a kick in the booty if you need it. The Friday episodes are more of me going in depth about something, and they're usually about 20 minutes long. If you're new to the podcast, that's what you can expect for the rest of this year. The short episodes on Monday, full-length episodes on Friday. So I am so excited to get into this because this is the thing. This is how you do it. Like, I feel like we never really talk about this. We don't really talk about becoming much past, like, when you're a kid about going to college or something, and they're like, well, who do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to do? And we kind of put it in these boxes of like occupation or how you spend your time or whatever. But really, it's so much more than that, because we are so much more than what we do. We're so much more than our job. We're so much more than even our relationship status or whatever. There are so many facets to it. And I feel like some of it's passed down, like, my mom did this, so I got to do this, or my family always does this, so that's what I do. And some of it's just default, this like situational default where it's like, oh, I don't know, I never really thought about it. Like, I always kind of laugh at myself. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, and people are like, well, how'd you end up in Utah? And I'm like, well, you know, I I went to college in Virginia and I got engaged out there. And when we were thinking about what to do after college before we got married, well, my mom lived in Utah, his parents lived in Utah, and we're like, well, if we moved to Utah, then we can live rent-free until we get married, and then we just stayed. Was that an intentional choice? No. It was a choice of convenience. It was like, well, now we're here, so I guess let's just get jobs and an apartment and like start our life. But it wasn't an intentional choice. It was like, well, now we're here. And so much of our lives are like that. And now we're here more intentionally and whatever, it's fine. We're not mad about it. But what I'm communicating is that it wasn't an intentional choice. It just kind of happened. And that's a big one, right? Like, this is where we live. This is where we raise our kids. This is where he works. This is our environment. And every winter I'm like, why do I live here? I don't even know why I live here, because I hate the winter so much. And people are like, oh, do you guys ski? And I'm like, I don't snow. I don't like cold. Like, this is so not for me. My Texas soul hates it. But we're here because we made an unintentional choice. And so much of the time, life is like that. I totally guarantee if I were to go back in time, knowing everything I know now, we would not have ended up in Utah, because I would have made a more intentional choice. I would have seen more options. I would have known how to beat back fear and doubt and limiting beliefs. And I'd been like, no, we're not doing this. Anyways, it's fine. It's a great story. But that just illustrates to you, sometimes we live in these like default paths where we're just like, well, I'm on this road, so I might as well just see where it goes. But you don't have to. You can pull out a map and you can pick a destination. So as we pull out a map The very first pillar of becoming, in my opinion, is vision. You need to have a vision. You need to have an idea of what you are heading towards, where you are going. And I have also been passionate about vision for a very, very long time, because if you go back through the podcast to the single digit episodes, I did a 3-part series on vision, and I am still talking about it. I'm still talking about vision because it is that important. And the more I talk about vision, the better I get at it, because vision, having a vision, isn't actually a destination. I mentioned you pull out a map and you pick a destination. Yes-ish, because your becoming is continual. There's no destination, there's no final point, right? When you create a vision, you're picking the next big milestone, right? So if I'm going across the country in my car, there are, like, from Salt Lake City to New York, let's say, there are tons of options there that I can choose for milestones, right? I can choose any city in between here and there as a milestone. I can choose something as close as Denver. I can choose something as far as, like, I'm going to aim for, Raleigh, North Carolina, and that's going to be my next milestone, and I'm not stopping till there, or whatever. You can pick all of these milestones and be like, well, yeah, I'm going to get to New York, but I'm going to go to a pit stop in Dallas for real quick because I'm craving some barbecue, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be a straight line. It doesn't have to be a straight course. It's whatever appeals to you. It's whatever feels good, whatever feels right to you as far as creating this vision for yourself, but it gives you the direction that you're going. Because obviously, if I'm going to take the southern route and go up to, New York, I'm going to have a different experience than if I take a northern route, or if I just cut across central as straight as I can. I'm going to have a different experience either way, and the point is choosing intentionally. And most of us don't have a vision. Like I said about us ending up living in Utah, we didn't have a vision. We didn't have a vision for our married life, like our young married life, or how it is that we wanted to, raise a family, or any of that, right? It was just, well, we're here, so we might as well just get a place to live and get jobs and start life. But it didn't have to be like that. So you can create a vision at any time, right? Like, even though now we're in Utah, I can still create a vision for, what I want my life to look like. And Jake and I can sit down and create a vision together on what we want our life to look like. And we could choose to move out of state if we wanted, which we don't anymore. But you can make these adjustments. So if you're going across the country, you've got this vision of, I'm going to take the southern route, and then you decide, well, actually, this isn't what I want to do anymore. You can change direction. You can change the course and go a different way. But having a vision tells you where you're going. You're setting up your next milestone. You're giving yourself a direction to head in. But why don't we have a vision? Why don't most people have visions? One, because it feels hard. It feels hard to create this vision for yourself. This is a life of, like, all of these options and all of these opportunities, and it feels hard to narrow it down. It feels like we're cutting off all these other options. Well, if I take the southern route, then I'm not going to be able to do the northern route. Okay, well, sure, yes. But do you even want the northern route? Like, is that even something that you want to experience? Because if you do, then, weigh it out, pros and cons, figure out what you can do so that you can move forward intentionally, knowing you can make changes as you go. You can make adjustments as you go. So it feels scary. It feels like we're cutting off our options. We like to have options. But the thing is we don't even want all the options. We don't. If you don't like the cold, you probably don't want to take the northern route. You'll want to take the southern route to get where you're going. So there are things that you don't want. And so cutting off those options is really no loss. But a lot of the times we don't even know what we do want. And this is really the biggest problem. We don't know what we do want. We haven't thought about it long enough. We haven't admitted it to ourselves. We haven't asked ourselves enough questions. And really, there's 3 things that I would recommend to you to help you figure out a vision for yourself and where you want to go and what you want to create and who you want to become. Because remember, it's all about becoming anyway. It is all about becoming anyway. Even when we talk about what we want to do, what we want to have, the life experience we want, it's all about being the person that does the thing, has that life experience. It's all about becoming anyway. So, when you're thinking about creating a vision, first of all, you need to admit to yourself what it is that you want. Sometimes this is tricky. Sometimes we have like all of these feelings about it, about like, oh, what if it's selfish? Oh, what if whatever? Like we have all this noise about what it is that we want, that we have a hard time admitting it to ourselves. So really, just admit who it is you want to be unapologetically and who it is you don't want to be. I went out with a few friends a week or two ago, and I loved this like very clear moment one of my friends had. She was like, I want to be the person who, like organizes things and gets people together and all that. But when I think about it, I really don't. She's like, but I want to, but I don't. And I very clearly saw, I was like, yeah, you want it, but you don't. And it's okay that you don't want to be that person. You're in this place where you want to be that person, but you don't. And that's okay. You don't have to be that person because other people truly want to be that person. They're not in the want to want space. They want to be that person. And then that's where they can shine. You don't have to be that person that you don't want to be. So this goes on both ways, right? We've got these ideas where we should do this, we should be this, we should whatever, but we don't want to. Let it go. Admit to yourself that you don't want to be that person, or that you want to be this person instead, because that leaves space for somebody else to really show up as the person they want to be, which just happens to be the person you don't want to be, which really works out. It really works out. Okay, so you've got to admit it to yourself. I've got this really great quote. It's from Jen Sincero in her book, You Are a Badass. And I think about this quote fairly often when I'm thinking about what it is, like admitting to myself what I want, or helping people admit what they want to themselves. She talks about your fantasies. And to sum up, she says, our fantasies are our realities in an excuse-free world. Our fantasies are the most revealing peepholes into who we are and what we think is awesome. No matter how out there and ridiculous they may seem, they mean something to us and usually represent our biggest and best versions of ourselves. And when you think about it that way, when you think about becoming who it is that you want to become, and that being the biggest and best version of you, there's really nothing selfish about it, because when you're the biggest and best version of you, you automatically, naturally lift others. You automatically and naturally serve others because you are the biggest and best version of you. And that's a gift to the world, not just to you, but to the world. So when you stay small, when you stay in this place of not being who it is that you want to be, in your comfort zone, nice and safe in your comfort zone, that's actually the selfish thing. So if selfishness is the thing that you're worried about, know that you staying small, you not being the person that you feel called to be, that is actually the selfish thing. So you can chew on that for a minute. Okay, so you have to admit it. And when you don't know what it is that you want, or who you want to become, start observing yourself. Start noticing what makes you jealous, where you feel envy. Start noticing what you gravitate towards. Start noticing when you look at a menu, or when you go shopping, or when you're, out and about in the world in your life. Start noticing what it is that tugs at you a little bit, where you're like, I'd really love to have that. I'd really love to do that. I would really love to experience that. And notice that that's part of who it is you want to become. naturally, without any of the drama, without any of the shoulds or should nots or whatever. Notice that those things just naturally tug at you. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. And that's part of who you are. Okay? So observe yourself. The next one, the last one, is start asking yourself questions. Start asking, like, why did that make me jealous? Like, when my friend was telling me about this trip they went on, why did I feel triggered? Like, why did whatever, like, what is it about this situation that made me feel some kind of way? And usually it's like, I'm mad at this person for being able to do this, or like, whatever. You've got these emotions and they're informing you of things. It's like, oh, well, I'd actually really like to take a vacation like that, but I feel like maybe I can't, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I don't have the money, blah, 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 whatever, drama. There's all of this drama around what it is that we want. And we can cut through the drama intentionally. You have to do it intentionally, or else it's just there because it pops up and it's just there. And so in order to get rid of it, you have to get rid of it intentionally, right? So like when you don't, maintain a house, we've all driven by neighborhoods where the houses aren't maintained, right? So they just kind of fall into this place of disrepair. And that just happens naturally. And so it's work to clean it up. It's work to fix it up. It's work to, put the gutters back in place. It's work to fix the shutters. It's work to whatever, because it just happens naturally. So when you've got all of the drama, all of this garbage, all of these fears and doubts and limiting beliefs that pop up, it's your job to clear it up. It's your job to maintain the house. You're the house. It's your job to maintain it. And it's work, and you have to do it intentionally, because if you don't, then the shutters are just going to fall off, because that's just what happens with time. Okay, so I'm really so excited for breakthrough mode. I have been so excited to release this for you, to create this for you, to step into this new place of this momentum and action and intentionally shifting into things and intentionally making changes. I am so excited to share my 4 pillars of becoming with you. Vision is the very first one, because you've got to know where you're headed. You've got to know what you want to create. You have to know who it is you want to become in order to become that person. Now, real quick, you don't have to know everything. You don't. In order to get started, you just have to know the right direction. You just have to have this like leaning of like, well, what if I want to become this kind of person? And start leaning into being that person. You don't have to have it all mapped out. You don't have to have every rest stop, every hotel stay booked out. It's not required. There will be space for you when you get there. You just have to know what direction you're going. You just have to know which way so that you can get on your way. You don't have to know everything. You just have to know a little bit. And it's one of those things that as you start, as you engage, as you start admitting things, as you start observing yourself and asking yourself questions, more information will come to you. You'll get more clarity. More will show up to support your journey. It's one of those, like, if you can only see 2 steps in front of you, that's because that's all you need right now. You take those 2 steps and another 2 steps are going to show up. You don't have to know the whole way. You just have to get started. Okay, so I hope this was inspiring for you. I hope that you will shift into breakthrough mode with me every week. And I hope that you will start to really create a vision for yourself, especially as we step into a new year. This is an amazing time to really intentionally create a year, to really intentionally become. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so grateful for you. I totally love you. Bye for now.